Welcome everyone to the Virtual Y. Chance here with your Friday chair yoga practice. Thanks for tuning in. I hope your week has been awesome. I hope you have incredible plans for this weekend. And if not, hey, anything's possible, right? For this chair yoga practice, two main areas of focus will be directing ourselves to is the breath and the bandhas. So the bandhas are these internal locks, these internal muscle groups that we're going to exercise, flex, use. It's really the deepest level of your core, which is good for so many things. So I'll walk you through first setting up the breath, second using these bandhas to massage, to support, to activate your internal locks, and we'll do some poses to obviously focus on the places where our body is holding tension and where we can let it go, release it, and let our body do its job, which is repair, restore, and bring our deepest wishes into real life. All right, so let's sit up tall. Paying attention to the spine starts by paying attention to how we're holding the weight in our body. Shifting from an unconscious state of being into a conscious state of being. This is that mind-body connection. So we pay attention to our body, and that's all you have to do in this practice is continue paying your attention here, now, to this body. So, sitting up tall, notice how the seat is and how gravity is landing on your body. Do you feel more weight in your right side or your left side where you're sitting on this chair? Perhaps your feet rest nicely on the ground. You can feel the soles of your feet pressing into the ground slightly. And if your chair is too tall and your feet are dangling, try to put something underneath your feet so you have a little bit of pressure that you can put into those feet. Now, notice your spine. Is your spine slumped or is it arched? And this intersection of the low back, even the subtlest movements, really awaken a lot of muscles or a lot of awareness, basically, of where we're holding tension. So pay attention to the front of your hips. Are they tight in the front of the hips? Pay attention to your low back. Is your tailbone rolled under, or is it poking out toward the back, creating an arch? And we want to find the tailbone directly beneath the rest of our spine. So that might take a rolling under a bit. Then notice your low back. Is it slumped? Is it arched? Let's try to just make a long vertical spine. So it's neither slumped nor arched, but we feel a reaching from the low back. You're going to feel some muscles engaging. You might feel a little stiffness or soreness, depending on how your unconscious posture is. Now, pay attention to your shoulders. Are they rolled forward? Are they closing off your heart? Can you roll your shoulders slightly back, not too hard, not too much, but enough to open the front of the heart and bring your shoulders in alignment with your ears? Next, can we tuck the chin just a little bit, creating more length where the spine meets the skull? And just observe what muscles are working now. Maybe it's, in my body, I feel it in my left lower back. Like I have to work a little bit harder just to sit up tall in that side of my body. It might be different for you. It could be in one of your hips, it could be in one of your shoulders, where you feel the most work. But that's the point. We're just becoming conscious of what our body is going through, experiencing. And these subtle moves is actually, they're strengthening. They're connecting the mind to the body. So next we bring our attention to the breath. Now that we got the posture nice and tall, we're creating space across the chest, opening up space for the lungs to move less inhibited, and that length in the spine, warming up those muscles that keep that spine long. So with the breath, we want to take slow, deep breaths in and out. So it's easy to just want to dump your breath out after you breathe it all the way in, but you want to let that breath go slowly. So we go in and out. In, out, in, out, in, out. All right, so now we got this rhythm. We want to keep this rhythm going. So the inhale lasts as long as the exhale. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be overwhelmingly complicated. You just want your inhales to last as long as your exhales. Now, as we're breathing, we also want to focus on breathing in through the nose, and as we fill the lungs, we fill from the bottom of the lungs to the top. This happens what feels like way down in our belly, because we're using the diaphragm, this muscle right here around the bottom of the ribs, to pull down and open up the lower chamber of the lungs, but that kind of pushes stuff in our belly down and out. So on your inhales, your belly should really push out. And on your exhales, the belly can come back in. We're keeping the spine long, the shoulders relaxed. And out. So we're filling the bottom of the lungs first, but also filling up to the top. When you breathe out, your lungs kind of deflate in from both sides, all sides. So this takes a lot of attention. The detail to the breath actually is the meditation, because your mind is actively thinking about the here and now. It's actively thinking about one of the most vital processes of the body, the breath. It's the give and the take. We take what we need from the air, and we give back what we don't. So that's the breath. We're going to be breathing like that rhythmically throughout the entire practice. It's good to be able to hear the breath. And next we'll focus on the bandhas, the internal locks. So keep breathing deeply, a nice give and take. Notice if your body's starting to feel, warm or fatigued or challenged or stiff in certain places. Whatever you notice, that's okay. This is your body repairing itself. So the bandhas, these internal locks, they act like a massage on our spine, deep from within. The first lock is the pelvic floor. We draw up and in on the soft tissue of the bottom. It's like a Kegel lift. We're drawing up on anything that you can notice around your bottom, and imagine pulling it up and into this pelvic cavity. So your bottom is lifting. And when you do that, you're going to feel some activation in the low back. The tailbone, the lumbar spine, you're going to notice what's taking place. So as you lift this lock, we're not just going to hold it forever, we're going to lift it, and then just like our exhales, we're going to release it with some control. We're not going to just drop it, we're going to release it smoothly. So maybe breathe in and lift the pelvic floor, and breathe out and gently lower the pelvic floor. You already might notice stuff happening. It might seem like a lot of work. It might be a little uncomfortable. This is just practice. We're practicing it. And next, the other lock that we'll be working with is the Uddiyana Bandha, the upward flying lock. And this is your belly button. It's not actually your belly button, but that's where you put your attention, and you try to pull your belly button in toward your spine. By doing so, you're actually using these big band-like muscles called the transversus that wrap around your lower abdomen and pull your belly up and in. This is a very important group of muscles to protect the low back, and as you're doing that, you might feel some activation in the spine, the mid to low back. So just like the pelvic floor, we lift and then we release. We lift and release. Now you might ask yourself, how do I breathe down into my belly and expect my belly to go out if I'm also pulling in on my belly button, trying to suck it in? Well, that's a great question. And all that I can say is that with practice, it happens. It works. They're two different groups of muscles. The diaphragm can pull down and the belly pulls out, while the belly button pulls in and everything comes in. It's different layers. It's different muscles. But it takes practice, so don't be super worried about doing it wrong. Or if it's too challenging. Take what serves you, leave the rest. All right, so now that we got the foundations, let's start moving a bit. but keep the breath going. Let's just come back to the breath, just the breath. A few breaths, nice and slowly in, nice and slowly out. In, out. Last one. And out. Now as we're still breathing like this, we use those bandhas. In, pull in on those locks as you breathe in. Out, gently release those locks. In. And out. Once more. And out. Now, as we keep on breathing with those breath and bandhas, you might forget, but I'll bring you back to those things. But try to keep it going, even as we start taking some poses. So the first simple movement is just shrugging your shoulders up towards your ears when you breathe in. Out and down as you breathe out. In and up. Out and down. Just notice where there's tension. You don't need to squeeze to any point where it hurts. You just want to find where stuff is moving around, where there's a little discomfort, but not a distracting amount of discomfort. And that's where we send our attention to wherever something is happening in our body that we can perceive. And with more practice, you can start to perceive more and more as those channels into the body become more open. The experience of the body changes. One more. And out. Good. Next, let's tuck the chin down to the chest. Keep the spine reaching tall. Keep the breath and the bandhas in play. Notice what's awakening in your body. And gently start rocking the left ear toward the left shoulder. Coming back through chin to chest. And bringing the right ear toward the right shoulder. Keep the breath flowing. Oh. Go slow enough to feel what's taking place. If you get bored, if you get distracted, if you get a bunch of busyness in the mind, that's okay. We keep on coming back to those details in the breath. The squeezing and lifting of the bandhas. And the observation of the subtle ways that our body is changing. The temperature, the awareness, the movement, the discomfort. When you're ready, we're going to come back to center, sit up tall, maybe shrug the shoulders a little bit. Observe what's already started to change. Pull in on those bandhas. Is there any more length in your low back? Is there any more awareness of where there's stiffness, soreness? We're observing. There's no way that you're doing it wrong unless you're hurting yourself. Don't hurt yourself in this practice. Just move, observe, practice these techniques. It takes a lot of time to get all these things coordinated. The in, out, the lift, the breath, the bandhas. What's my mind doing? Why am I judging myself? All of this is part of the practice. So don't overwhelm yourself. This is simple, but that doesn't mean it's easy. But I promise you, it gets easier with practice, and the benefits become more and more noticeable. So now we're going to take a nice, broader move. We're going to take some longer moves here, and we're going to repeat them several times. not only to create more flow and heat, but to open up some longer channels. So I want to work on the back line of the body, and we're going to do this modified Sun Salutation. This is great for creating some heat, creating some movement, waking up your body, or just letting go of the stress of the day, relaxing your body. So no matter how you cut it, your body's going to be more primed for whatever you're doing, whether you're down regulating, getting ready for bed, or if you're waking up and getting ready for your day. These movements are great because they're opening up this channel in the spine, this Sushumna Nadi, the great river. So just pay attention to that. Subtle movements, big outcomes. So sitting up tall, take a big breath in. Big breath out, see what's shifting, notice where there's tension, stuff is changing. And on your inhales, we're going to sweep the arms way high. We're going to hold here just to refine this pose a bit. Pay attention to your tailbone. Is it poking way out and you're arching your back? Well, roll that tailbone forward a little bit to lengthen the low back. Are your arms active? Can you imagine squeezing like a yoga block or a ball in between the hands so your arms are engaged? Can you externally rotate your shoulders, meaning pointing the pinky sides of your hands a bit more towards each other? Whoo! Can you relax your shoulders away from your ears as you're breathing? Do your fingers get tingly a little bit? What do you notice? What's going on? Take one more big inhale. And on your next exhale, we're going to go slowly, smoothly, leaning your heart towards your knees. Tuck your chin around your spine. We're going to come all the way down as far as you can comfortably go. You might want to scoot your seat a little further up toward the edge of your chair if that feels good for you. But be safe and be mindful of your surroundings because we don't want you to lose your balance. But if you were to lose your balance, don't fall off your chair onto something sharp or hard or dangerous. So kind of just be aware of your surroundings and aware of the power of these poses. So now that we're in this forward fold, bring your attention back to the shape of your breath. All the way in, down to the bottom of the belly. All the way out, softening, releasing wherever you can. All the way in, use those bandhas. How differently does the pelvic floor feel? All the way out, where can you soften? Maybe in your face, your eyebrows, your eye sockets, floor of your mouth. Let's just take a couple more. Notice if there's any heat, any draining, any heaviness in the head, any pressure behind the eyes or the sinuses. All of these things are pretty normal. And we're going to shift to what we call a modified halfway lift. So we're going to lift the chest. We're using our low back muscles, and we want our torso to be parallel to the floor or parallel to our upper thighs. So a long line from your tailbone out through the crown of your head. We're reaching the head forward. We're pulling the shoulders away from the ears. You could even press some pressure into your feet and roll the knees towards each other a bit. What does this do to your low back? Do you notice any squeezing, any massaging? Do you notice anywhere in your body becoming tense, even if you're trying not to make it become tense? Scan the body, notice where you're working and where you don't need to be working, so soften those spaces. On your next exhale, we're going to fold all the way forward again, tucking the chin, letting the head hang heavy, noticing how that shifts. And on your inhale, nice and slowly, we're going to come all the way up. Reach those arms all the way up. And bring your hands to heart center. Let's take a couple breaths here. Big inhale. Big exhale. Just a couple more. Last one. Now we're going to repeat those poses several times in a flow. Listen to your body, don't do too much, but let's see if we can get a little heat, a little flow going through our spine. Pay attention, we're going to match the breath with the movement. On your inhale, sweep the arms all the way high, active through the fingertips, relax the shoulders. Exhale, fold forward, round through the spine, tuck the chin. Inhale, halfway lift, long spine, shoulders away from the ears, reach through the crown of the head. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, sweep the arms all the way high. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, arms high. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, sweep arms high. Exhale, hands to heart center. We're going to do that whole series 2 more times. Inhale, sweep arms high. Exhale, fold forward. Pay attention to the details, the space in between the poses. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, sweep arms high. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, sweep arms high. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, sweep arms high. Exhale, hands to heart center. You can bring your hands to your knees, palms facing high. We're going to sit up tall. Take a couple breaths and see if you can reach your spine higher up. Slightly tucking your chin, imagine the top of your head reaching up even higher, shoulders relaxing, tailbone rolled under. Take a couple deep breaths. With those bandhas in play, and just notice where in your body is showing you something's happening. Very good. We're going to take a modified yogi squat or a modified horse pose. If you can, point the toes on each foot outward. Your heels are in, your toes are out. From here, traction your feet into the ground. Squeeze your feet into the ground so you feel like you're working these inner thigh muscles. Roll your tailbone under, sit up tall. And as it feels good for you, keep tractioning your feet into the ground. What muscles do you notice? What do you notice about your hips? Can you roll your tailbone under? Can you make more length in the low back? Spread the arms wide. Thorough exhale. Reach the arms up. Thorough exhale. Inhale, the arms wide. Thorough exhale. Inhale, the arms up. Keep tractioning those feet. And exhale the arms all the way down. We'll bring the feet back to center. We got those inner lines of the legs nice and warmed up. Notice how that impacts your low back, what your hips might feel like, where you feel stuff waking up. Let's cross the right ankle over the left knee and take 3 to 5 kind of figure eights with the toes. We want to move that ankle slowly, lovingly. Feel all the different directions that can move. Feel all the different muscles it takes to move that hinge of the ankle. And we'll sit up tall. Option to push the right hand into the right knee to square that shin to the ground. Sit up tall. And on your exhale, if it feels good, lean your heart towards your shin. It's going to bring some traction or intensity into that outer right hip. If you're looking for more of a stretch here, flex the toes back toward the shin. This lengthens that outer line of the leg. And keep breathing. Don't overextend. Don't hurt yourself. Just find that comfortable edge where you can breathe, use your bandhas, and watch your body respond. On your next inhale, come up. Take the other side, uncross that right ankle. Bring the left ankle over the right knee. Take a handful of figure eights or circles in that left ankle. Go really slowly, patiently. What do you notice about these connections? What do you notice about what muscles engage to move each bit of your foot? How do your toes respond? How do your feet respond? How do your calves and knees respond? Feel it all. Keep breathing, keep sitting up tall. And we'll take this outer hip stretch. Option to press the left hand against the knee, aiming to parallel that shin to the ground. Feel the intensity that you want to feel. Don't go beyond that. Sit up tall and lean the heart forward on your exhale. Really breathe and notice the length of your spine. All the way in, all the way out. Inhale, come up. We're going to twist the spine. Bring both feet to the ground. Left hand to the right knee. Right hand to the side of the chair. Right hand to the back of the chair if that feels better. And look out over the right shoulder. 2 deep breaths all the way into the belly. Up to the top of the chest. And all the way out. Seeing what shifts or releases. Take one more inhale. Big exhale. On your inhale, come back to center. Second side, we'll bring that right hand to the left knee. Left hand to the back of the chair. Look out over that left shoulder. Sit up tall. Relax the shoulders. Deep breaths from the bottom of the belly up to the tops of the collarbones. One more full inhale. Full exhale. Inhale, come back to center. We'll end with just a few breaths of gratitude. Palms open toward the sky. Long spine. Notice your bandhas. Give them a squeeze. Notice the size of your breath. Think about how you want to bring this feeling of a vast inner world and how much power you have over this inner world. And notice how that relationship to your inner world ripples out into the world around you. How could a few deep breaths prepare you for life's challenges? Or how can a few deep breaths help you appreciate those sweet, tender moments in life that are always fleeting? Being all the way present is where we have the most power. When we get distracted and lost in the future or the past, what comes with that is a feeling of powerlessness. But when we find our way back to the present moment, again and again, we are encouraging our own power, our own emerging self, to keep on rippling out into the world around us. So I bring my hands to heart center and say Namaste, meaning the light in me recognizes the light in you. Thanks for tuning in. Have an awesome weekend. And if you got any questions, be free to email me at chanceconnected@gmail.com. Thanks a lot.